Alright, what's up guys? I'm just gonna do a little AC6 review just after beating the game. And, well, just some thoughts and critiques on the game. So, just to start off, the graphics I think were nice. Like all the environments are kind of samey in the sense that it's gonna be mostly in some snow level with some city, and a lot of the bad guys are everything is just kind of like dull and muted and grayish looking. But I get why they did that. It's to give all the explosions and like lasers like a little bit more vibrance and pop whenever you go to like do all your stuff. Like, this still looks awesome, like doing an assault boost or whatever, and the sparks coming out on your feet. You know, I get why they made the game, why they chose the color palette for the game. I get it. All the ACs look awesome, and they're all pretty unique, I think. I like the fact that there's multiple different builds that you could do for the game, and everything just looks. This is like, it's like like you're playing Transformers, but you can customize your Transformers. Yeah, so I think the graphics were awesome. I got no problem with some people thinking that, like, if the graphics sucked or whatever. I mean, I think they were fine. Like, I'm not playing a fantasy, I don't know, Armored Core game for the realistic graphics. Like, it would have been okay if they even stylized it a little bit, you know? So I think it's completely fine with the route that they took, because I think I have an older graphics card. I got like a 2080 or something, and that's pretty much what I was working with. I think I boosted the graphics up to whatever the max was, and then I put it on 120 frames because that's all that the game supported or whatever, which was fine. Everything is fluid, and it looks good. The game looks good. The sound is awesome. A lot of the explosions are just very bassy. Like, especially when bosses are shooting you, the sound is very, like, the closer you get to an explosion, the more bassy it is. I thought that was cool. And yeah, like, the sound design was awesome. 100%. But I mean, yeah, the story was kind of mid to me, because it takes place all inside your garage for the most part. Like, you communicate with the main story characters and the side characters and you never really see people in this game. I don't think you see people at all in this game. It's only voice lines. And it was so funny because when I heard the main handler dude, and I heard his voice, I'm like, it's literally fucking Jiren from Dragon Ball. So the entire time I'm playing the game, I'm like, Jiren's telling me what to do. So I thought that was funny as hell. But I mean, for the most part, so I'm like new to the Souls-like games and all the From Software games. I haven't played any what do you call it, like Souls games from them at all. But I think this is a game that is like changing my mind. I liked this game and the difficulty of this game. I thought it was fine because, for the most part, most of my time is actually spent playing like aim trainers like Kovacs and Aim Labs. So I'm like M&K bro. But when I first saw the game, I thought, I saw the movement of some of the bosses. I was like, oh my god, this game has so much movement. There's no way I'm gonna have smooth tracking in a game like this. So my initial playthrough was on controller. Yes, it was on controller. So the game is more enjoyable if you boost the camera speed up a little bit. I think I played on like 7, but even that felt kind of slow at times. If I do pick up the roller again, I could probably bump it up to like 8, 9, 10, if anything, just to give it a shot, because one main thing with the gameplay in this game that is really annoying is, I mean, all the explosions and the particle effects look awesome, but there's a lot of visual clutter. Like, just look at the reticle, for instance. Like, if you put the reticle, if there's any time, like this is, okay, so this is like the soft aim, and this is the hard lock aim, and then I didn't even bother unlocking the manual aim yet. If this is like the soft aim, the moment the enemy leaves the screen and when it comes back on, it's kind of jarring. As like someone that plays like Kovacs a lot, it's very like a weird feeling to have your reticle just ripped off in front of you and it just go to the side like that, like pop, pop, pop. It's weird, but I mean, I guess I could get used to it or whatever. And it's even more weird when you hard lock, because like you know when you hard lock and your reticle is on here and you go to move your mouse, it does this like forces it back on type thing, which again, it feels weird, but it's probably just you gotta get used to it type thing. I'm on M&K right now, and because when I first saw the game and I saw like a couple of reviews of the game, and I could tell like the people who were doing M&K stuff, their aim is not smooth at all. Like, as a matter of fact, it would look something like, let's see if I can replicate it. It would look like, it would be like very shaky and like very jerky and jittery. So I was like, oh my gosh, is that going to be me when I play? I haven't done any M&K stuff yet. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. Maybe I'll end up having like janky aim just like everybody else, but we'll see. What else? The controls. I mean, the controls for the controller were fine. I ended up playing with, what was it, my pointer and what do you call it, my middle finger on the shoulder buttons. And because of like, you have to have access to all 4 weapons on your shoulders and arms at all times, essentially. Unless you have big hands, then you could just like essentially just roll your pointers. So I mean, I don't really have a lot of experience in the past couple years on controller, so it was kind of weird and wonky playing with pointers and middle fingers on the shoulders. So it was kind of weird, but I was able to like get through it for the most part. I think for the first 2 chapters of the game, I was kind of experimental about it, like choosing the builds and whatnot, because I didn't really understand all the stats and what all the stats did exactly. Because like, I could say what a stat does in regular people terms, but the game needs to immerse you, and it needs to say things like, instead of a stamina bar, it'll say it's an energy bar. There's energy refill consumption, energy like post energy this, pre energy that, and all these things. And there is a contextual help button that you can use to what do you call it? Like figure out what each stat does, which I did do, but it's a lot of stats to figure out. But it's not too hard, because I am getting, the more I play the game, the more I get the hang of it or whatever. So there is that. And I loved all the different types of legs in the game. The legs The legs of your AC really really define your experience. You know, I think for once I got past the chapter 2 boss, or maybe it was on the chapter 2 boss. What was the chapter 2 boss? The sea spider. I ended up building the wheelchair double gat songbird build, and I just cruised through the game like that. It makes the game essentially on easy mode. I mean, I don't care. It's no big deal to me. I thought it was pretty fun. I haven't played a lot of Soulsborne's games, like I said, so choosing like the easy mode for the game I think it was fine for like a first playthrough or whatever. The next time I go through the game, I want to do like an M&K melee build, just to see if I got the chops. You know what I mean? Because I think I really do like the melee of this game, and I think it's fun. What else? A lot of visual clutter. Reticle is, yeah, like there's so much information on your reticle, on this big circle thing right here, that like I do understand people when they critique the game and say hard lock is the meta, because when you hard lock on something, when something is smoother and it moves in a smooth fashion, it's easier to read. Okay, when the camera is like over here, like if I take off a hard lock or whatever and I start doing all this like other shit, it's hard to read the reticle, the gigantic reticle that's like right there. It's like, am I in range? Am I out of my ideal range? Am I inside it? I mean, I could kind of tell with my eyeballs, but it's like, did my missiles lock all the way on that like yellow bar right there? And it's, you know, and then you got all your weapons and their cooldown that are right there. But when you start shaking a little bit, it does become harder to read. And one thing that I might have wanted, I don't know, is like, instead of all this information on the reticle, maybe put it somewhere else. Because you have a bunch of things in like the bottom right hand corner right there. Maybe it would have been more accessible for me to see. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying what I thought, like just on controller or whatever. But overall it wasn't that bad. I just have to be a little bit more smoother in my movements to be able to read everything like correctly or whatever. So not that big a deal. There was a new patch that just got released or whatever, 1.02 or something like that, that I think they buffed a couple of the guns, which is cool, and then they nerfed some bosses or whatever. I think that's fine. I beat all the bosses like pre-nerf, so I'm fine. I don't care. And even if a new player comes in and says, oh, I beat all the bosses, I'm not gonna have like some sort of air of superiority because they beat it post nerf or whatever. I think that's stupid. It's like, you beat the bosses, you just beat the bosses, whatever, who cares? Because the more people you can get to play in your game, I think is better, because there is a good amount of like PvP after you unlock like a lot of the parts in this game, and I think a lot of people like the PvP. I haven't done any because I'm too scared / chicken shit to do it or whatever, but it's just not something I'm too concerned with right now. I'm still like trying to beat like the second playthrough of the game, and then maybe a third playthrough, depending on how good this like next playthrough goes. All the bosses. So the helicopter boss, I think that took me about like 10 tries or something like that, because I wasn't sure exactly what I was supposed to do. It was only until like, because like when I first booted up the game, I had my buddy, like we were in like Discord or whatever, and we were just like playing through like the first hour or two, like just going like back and forth, like, oh, I'm on this boss now, I'm on that boss now, which was really cool, and we're just giving each other tips and shit. But essentially, the thing with this game when it comes to the PvE aspect is the more offensive you can be, the easier a time you're going to have. I mean, and yes, there is some amount of game knowledge that you're going to like develop. You know, when a boss does this, you do that, and so on and so forth. When to dodge, when to boost, when to go in for melee, when to back off. And, you know, that just comes with time and effort and trial and error. For the most part. So yeah, the helicopter boss got him down in like 10-ish tries. Second boss, Balteus. Oh man, aka hula hoops with me and my, what I call my friend group. Yeah, that boss took me a while. Oh man, I don't remember how many tries exactly, but if I were to put a number on it, it would probably be somewhere between 30 and 40 tries, I think, because it really was frustrating because I wasn't too good at building and I didn't really understand, oh, what's overburdened, do I got enough energy, do I got enough health? You know, I'm still trying to figure out the controls. I mean, you know, between that time, you know, you're doing arenas in other missions up until that boss, so there is a little bit of, you know, you starting to get comfortable with it. But with Balteus on it really was a filter. There's like multiple filters for each boss or whatever to filter out whether or not you are comfortable with the game mechanics, which is, and essentially for Balteus, you just got to get in. All right, you have to be constantly dodging towards him, constantly AB, you know, assault boosting towards him, using your melee as much as you can, and so on and so forth. And he, like, because the Balteus boss, he's constantly trying to run away from you and keep you at range. And I don't remember like what my health was. I think it was like maybe 9 or 10k or something like that. I don't remember. Or maybe it was like 12. And in his attack patterns, there's a lot of times where he's gonna be like directly above you and he just leaves the screen. But while he's above you and leaving the screen, he'll just barrage you with a shitload of missiles, and it covers your screen in explosion sprites or whatever. And again, it's just more visual clutter that I become disoriented. I'm just like, where the fuck did this dude go? Is essentially, that was a lot of the complaints that I had with the game. Anytime an enemy is directly below you or directly above you, the game controls get wonky. But I will take that concession because for the most part, the gameplay is good. But yeah, so that was Balteus. The next boss, I think, was Sea Spider. So, AKA Flying Pinecone Guy, or Octopus Pinecone Guy, whatever you think. Yeah, that was a boss. And I think it was at that time, I was still flip-flopping between builds and such. And that was the boss that I started watching a couple of videos and I was like, oh shit, I suck at the game still. So I tried to figure out, oh, what's the easiest build? And then everyone was going like, oh, do a wheelchair double gat songbirds build. And then I built it or whatever, and that boss, I think I spent a long time on that boss. I think it was like over 50 tries, I think. Somewhere around there. It took me 50 tries for the Sea Spider. Because, like, when you do the double gat songbird thing, like, and you do, like, the double fingers on the shoulder buttons, like, my middle finger was, like, held down the whole time. And I'm just sitting there trying to read the boss movements and like drop songbirds anytime they were off cooldown. But yeah, it was, I think that was the most emotional I got trialing and erroring a boss. And it was funny because some of the bosses, I had my buddy in my ear, and we're doing the same boss, and as he's getting irritated with a boss, I'm getting irritated. I'm just feeding off of his frustration or whatever. Oh my god, it was so funny because I'm used to not getting an expected outcome because I play Kovacs so much. Kovacs, most of the time in Kovacs, you're not getting the score you want. You know, you're playing the game. Most of the time, you're not getting, 99% of the time, you're not getting the score you want. You only need to get the score once that you want, okay? That's all it takes, is one time for you to get the score you want. So up until that point, you know, you become comfortable with the trial and error, and you just emotionally remove yourself. But with this game, with my buddy in my ear, he's getting pissed and I'm getting pissed. And it just fed off of each other, which is so funny. But yeah, so that was Sea Spider. And then the next boss, I think, there's like, it was either an optional boss in there, or it was Volcano Ass Guy, was one of the chapter bosses. Essentially for that guy, I mean, I think it was like about 10 tries for him, because I just made one of those tetrapod builds, like the missile boats that just hung out on the ceiling and just rained down missiles on him. And, you know, it was easy, essentially, for that one. That was like a gimme fight or whatever. And then, what was the boss after that? It was... Was it the worm? I think it was either the worm after that. I think it was the worm. The worm was annoying because you get this one, what do you call it, weapon that you put on your shoulder. I think it was like the stun needle or whatever. And you're supposed to put it on because it stuns the boss for a split second, and then the cinematics stun the boss and like make him drop down, and then you go ham on him. So on that one, the thing with the worm that was annoying is I tried to use the compass that you can like see like right there or something. You see how that red dot moves, and it's supposed to like track the enemy with like whereabout he's at. The thing with the worm is if you try to use the compass, the red dot corresponds to the middle of his body and not his head. So you kind of have to take that into consideration whenever you're like playing that mission or whatever. So most of the time on the worm, I'm like just doing this where I'm like running towards the camera and trying to track the red dot and keep it right in the center, because at any one time he'll rear his head up, and that's when you have to stun needle him. And I think that took me like, what was it, like 20 tries ish, something like that. I mean, it wasn't that bad. By that point, I was pretty confident in my abilities to like do the boss, and it was really cool. That boss was really cool. He does like a huge explosion of like red electricity, and I was like, oh, that's the juice right there. I was, you know, I had goosebumps. The sound was awesome in that little instance. Everything visually appealing. But yeah, the worm wasn't too bad. And then what was that? After that, you had what, Coral Convergence, the one AC with like the white pointy shoulders that just flies around, and he reses twice, or he reses once, so you know he's got 2 health bars. And yeah, so I tried to get some advice from my buddy on that one, and he's just like, yeah, he moves around a lot. And for the most part, I was able to do it with the wheelchair double gat. And it wasn't too bad, but I think that one again took me like 30 tries ish for Coral Convergence, because again, this is a game where you have to be really offensive and stay in close to mess up all the missile locks. But if you get in close, you know, you subject yourself to like the close range weapons and the melee weapons that the game has. So there is that to consider or whatever. So you just got to be aware, essentially. You know, just use all your weapons until they're on cooldown, and then just back off. Wait till they're off cooldown, and then just go in. But yeah, that boss, Coral Convergence, there's so much movement on him that whenever you try to get close, he just, you know, flies somewhere else, either like directly above you, and then he'll leave all these red missiles on your screen, or he'll just dodge all of your missiles if you're outside your ideal range or whatever. So it was annoying, but you know, I was able to get through it. And I think when I was doing Coral Convergence, I was actually sweating because I was like heated or whatever. Oh man. But no, that was another good boss. And then the last boss, the Handler. The Handler actually took me like less than 5 tries. I don't know why, but Handler was like really easy. I don't exactly know why. It took me. You know, it didn't really take me by surprise that, oh, all of a sudden you're fighting the Handler, the guy that was giving you orders the whole game. You're gonna fight him. It wasn't really a surprise because I could kind of expect it. They did that with what do you call it, BioShock, where you know, the whole "would you kindly" thing, and then all of a sudden you end up fighting the dude that was supposedly your friend, trying to direct you throughout the level and give you all these direction. Oh, surprise, he's the end boss. So it was just cool, you know, fighting Jiren at the end of the game. But yeah, like overall, oh yeah, something else. The customization on this game is so awesome. I don't think there's like any microtransactions for this game yet. I really hope they come out with some sort of expansion type thing for this game, because I would love to play that, or some sort of DLC. I would gladly pay them some money to make another little installment for this thing, because you can the customization that you can do on your AC is so awesome. You know, you can color everything, your entire body. You can color these guns. I just haven't gotten around to it because I'm a lazy piece of shit. You know, you can color any color. You can add like a metallic shine of like varying degrees on everything. What else? You can add layers. I think there's like 200 layers that you can add for extra detail on your AC to just make whatever pictures and logos that you want. You know, inevitably people are going to make dicks and so on and so forth. But anyway, at least there's an option too, all right? Which is really cool. Instead of a lot of other games, you have to pay $50 for fucking blue, all right? So it's just nice not having to pay money to make your dude look cool, all right? So it's awesome, 100%. And I look forward to playing this game, like for at least another playthrough. A third playthrough, we'll see. I would like to, but I don't know, maybe my mind will change. But I really want to play at least another playthrough on M&K just to give it a fair shake. And yeah, I mean, I don't really have a lot of complaints or critiques. I mean, I would like there have been a little bit more story, in the sense of, you know, cool it with the voice acting was fine, but I don't know if I would have enjoyed more human to human aspects instead of you just looking at your AC and them doing, I mean, shit, they probably could have done the Solid Snake thing where it's like done over a radio. I mean, essentially it was a radio or whatever, but like on Metal Gear, there's at least like a picture of Solid Snake and another picture of who you're communicating with, just so at least you get like a feel of what they look like. You know, they could have done the video radio thing that they did. Instead of everybody being an amorphous voice. But, I mean, I don't know why they did that. It's whatever. The story was okay. I'm probably just going to wait till VaatiVidya comes out and just makes like a story of AC6 or whatever. Because, I mean, like I said, I'm new to all this From Software stuff, and everyone keeps saying, oh, VaatiVidya, VaatiVidya. Just wait for him to make this story video. So I'm like, okay, I'll wait for that then. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's a good game. I think it's worth your time and money, and it's just a good quality game. So that's it. All right. So I'll see you guys on the next one, and peace out. All right. Later.